Welcome to Tesla 2023 quarter by quarter stock price prediction, the base case. I'm guessing you guys already watched the bear case of this video. If not, check it out. If you guys watch that, this video is gonna make a whole lot more sense. So if you guys haven't checked that out, check that video first, then come back to this one because it gets pretty darn juicy. And you don't get lost either. All right, let's just get down to it. All I ask return is a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's go. This is the same chart that we use in the bear case. We're going to use it in the base case as well, but with base case numbers. If you guys haven't watched the bear case again, I recommend you guys go watch it so you guys won't get lost. But to slowly be up to speed, what I pretty much did is that I multiply every single quarter by 90 days. If you guys add them all up, that comes around to 360 days. So there's about 5 to 6 days that doesn't get included for each Gigafactory. So that comes out to around like 3 weeks, a bit more than 3 weeks with no production. So those days we're going to say it's either holidays or an upgrade or some shutdown, lockdown, whatever it may be. We're just keeping things conservative. But on the other hand, we did take major holidays and we did reduce that as well from the production days, and you guys will see. So starting off with the Shanghai factory, daily production is between 2,600 and 3,000 vehicles. In the bear case, I said 2,600 daily production, but in the base case, we're going to bring it up to 2,800. And for the first quarter, it's going to be multiplied by 83 days and not 90 because they're off for Lunar holiday or the Chinese New Year. Tesla Shanghai is closed for about a week for that. So that's why we did 83 days. And we get a production for that entire quarter of 232,400 vehicles. In Q2, multiplied it by the straight 90 days of 2,800 productions, we get 252,000 vehicles. In Q3, I am expecting that Tesla Shanghai is going to have a little bit of an upgrade into their factory. So I increased from 2,800 to 2,850. And hopefully by then, the recession has reduced or has subsided in one way or the other. Won't be as bad as what we're going to face in the next 3 to 6 months. 256,500 vehicles produced in Q3. And in Q4, another upgrade, or the upgrade is completed, you could say, another 50 on top of that, making it 2,900 vehicles produced in a single day. Multiply that by 90, and we get 261,000 vehicles. Overall, Tesla Shanghai should be producing over 1 million vehicles in the base case by end of 2023. So, sheesh, that's good stuff. Moving on to Fremont, it looks like on an annual basis, they can produce about 650,000 vehicles. That comes down to between 1,700 to 1,800 vehicles daily. In the bear case, we said 1,700 vehicles every single quarter. But for the base case, we're going to increase that to 1,750 per quarter. And we're going to multiply that by 89 days because in the first quarter, there are some major holidays, at least one. So I reduced it 1 to 89 and we get about 155,750 vehicles produced. In Q2, same rate, same days, same number. In Q3, I increased it to 1,800 vehicles because I do expect Fremont to have some sort of an upgrade. So hopefully by then they can do and produce more vehicles and we get 1,800 vehicles with times that by 89 days. We get over 160,000 vehicles produced. Same thing with Q4. But 2 days off instead of 1 because of New Year's Eve and Christmas. And we get a total production of 158,400 vehicles produced. Overall, Tesla Fremont, by end of 2023 in the bear case, they should do a little over 630,000 vehicles production, which is just sheesh. Now, it may be more than this. They may go over 700 actually in 2023 with Fremont, but I'm just keeping it conservative. And moving on to Berlin and Texas. Now, these guys are really interesting because they just reached 3,000 vehicles production every single week. Now, I put that in the bear case that they're going to do 3,000 weekly for the first quarters for Texas and Berlin. But we're in the base case, so we got to increase that a little bit. So starting off with Berlin, I said for Q1, the average they're going to do on a weekly is 3,500. And that comes down to about 500 vehicles being produced daily. And with that, with 90 days, because it's in Germany, the first quarter, I'm not too sure if they have any holidays in the first quarter of the year. If there is, please comment down below. I would like to do an update on that. But 500 vehicles produced daily times 90, we get 45,000 vehicles produced in a single quarter, which is record. In Q2, I increased the weekly production rate to 4,200, which comes down to daily production of 600 vehicles and multiply that by 89 days because I'm sure they have 1 day holiday in that quarter. And that would give us a total production of 53,400 vehicles. Another record quarter in the middle of a recession. Sheesh. In Q3, I increased the average vehicles being produced weekly to 4,900 or about 700 vehicles per day. I also gave this a one-day holiday, about 89 days, 62,300 vehicles produced. Tesla Berlin is gonna be on fire in 2023. And last but not least, in Q4, I increased the weekly production rate to 5,600, or about 800 vehicles being produced daily on the average, and we get about 70,400 vehicles being produced in that entire quarter if we take 2 days holiday instead of one. Overall, Tesla Berlin in 2023, and in the base case, total production should be over 231,000 vehicles, which would be an incredible year for Tesla Berlin. That'll deserve a big sheesh if this happens. Sorry, when this happens. Moving on to Texas. Now, a side note here, I do believe Texas is going to produce a whole lot more vehicles than Berlin because it's just a bigger factory. I think overall Gigafactory Texas is like twice, maybe 2.5 times bigger than Berlin. So, you know, I expect Texas to do more than Berlin over time. And that includes Q1. So what I did was in Q1 for Texas, I said they're going to produce an average for that entire quarter of 3,850, which comes down to 550 vehicles being produced daily. With one day holiday, because Texas is in the US, we get about almost 49,000 vehicles being produced in that quarter alone. Wouldn't that be awesome to see? I increased the weekly production rate to 4,550, or about 650 vehicles being produced daily, again with one day holiday, and we get almost 58,000 vehicles being produced. In Q3, I increased the weekly production to 5,250, or a daily production of 750 on the average. We get about almost 67,000 vehicles being produced in Q3 alone for Texas, which is crazy. And you guys can already see Texas overtaking Berlin, which is natural in my opinion. In Q4, weekly production, I increased it to almost 6,000, or about 850 vehicles. With 2 days holiday, we get almost 75,000 vehicles being produced. Overall, Gigafactory Texas in 2023 for the base case at the end should do almost 250,000 vehicles in production, which is just amazing. If Tesla does these production numbers at every single factory, then we could see north of 2.1 million vehicles being produced in 2023, which is literally 50 to 55% growth in a recession, which is just absolutely flippin' amazing. However, let's not get ahead of ourselves. These are productions. I care more about deliveries because they can produce, but if they can't sell, if they can't deliver, you know, that doesn't go on the income statement, that doesn't go on the financial statement. You know, the numbers that we care about, the EPS, the profits, that's what I care about as an investor. Let's see how many cars they can deliver. In the bear case, I said that they're going to deliver 90% of their entire vehicle fleet. Usually it's between 97, 98, but because they're having this export wave, they're trying to export the cars early in the month and then later in the month, however they want to do it. That apparently creates a lag in their production and delivery. So that's why I said a 10% or a 90% delivery rate for every production, for every car being produced. And with that, for every single quarter for Q1, we get almost 434,000 vehicle deliveries, which is pretty much almost at Q4. And looking at history, Q4 and Q1 for Tesla, they're very similar because just demand in Q1 is not as high. In Q2, however, we hit a record of 467,000. Q3, we hit almost another record, almost reaching 500,000. And in Q4, we go over 500,000 vehicles being delivered. Overall, total deliveries by end of 2023 is just a bit over 1.9 million vehicles. Now, I know what you guys are saying, that no man, at least 2 million, they're gonna have a run rate of 2 million. Again, guys, they're gonna produce over 2.1 million and they're gonna deliver 90%. If we go ahead and say 95% instead, then yes, we're going to reach 2 million. And I hope they go back to their 97% ratio, which would be over 2 million, which would be very nice. But again, this is the base case and we're keeping things conservative. For crying out loud, guys. 3 weeks, 21 to 24 days was not in this chart. We did not include those days. So yeah, we're keeping things conservative. Alrighty, now that we figured out what each quarter is going to be for Tesla, for deliveries and production, let's go ahead and put it in the stock price prediction chart. Let's see what the stock price would be, the revenue, the profits, every single quarter. Is 2023 going to be a terrible year for Tesla, or is it going to be a good year for Tesla? Let's find out. But first, smash that like button. All right, let's go. So here's a Tesla stock price prediction chart. And again, if you guys watched the bear case of this video, then you guys already know what's happening. No need to explain. If you guys are new, I recommend you guys watch the bear case of this video so you guys can understand what's going on. But all in all, I'm predicting in 2022, they're going to do 1.338 million vehicle deliveries. That's about 430,000 vehicles deliveries in Q4. That would mean the total revenue for 2022 will be almost 80 billion and a net income just a bit north of 13 billion. Shares outstanding of 3.2 billion with a 50 PE. I know right now we're trading trading at what, 46, 47, but that's before the Q4. But with the 50 PE, if Q4 comes out and they crush it and we get in a little bit of a bull market, we could see a stock price at 205, but most likely it'll drop down to 240, depending what, how the sentiment is in a month time from now. But I'm going to keep it at 50 because I'm an optimistic person. All right, let's start off with Q1. So in Q1, Tesla delivered about 433,890 vehicles with an FSD of one-time payment of 15,000 at a 15% rate. This should be closer to 30%, but keeping things conservative, I'm going to keep it at 15%. With an average selling price for each vehicle for Tesla is 50,000, and with Q1 we get a little over $22.6 billion, and with a net income with a 20% margin. Now I'm expecting in 2023, if they do this volume about 1.9 million vehicles deliveries, their operating margin should go up, because they're just producing more cars and they're selling them. But with a 20% operating margin, we get almost $5 billion in just Q1 alone, which is just amazing. That would mean the total revenue for the last 3 quarters, including this quarter, will be about almost reaching 84 billion actually, and net income of 15 billion, which is absolutely amazing. Shares outstanding, I increased it year over year by 1%. I know they're going to do a buyback in 2023, but keeping things conservative, a 1% dilution every single quarter. That still give us at $1.54 EPS, non-GAAP, by the way. So, which is amazing, which is still really good. That would mean EPS of $4.57. So, sheesh, that's good stuff. Now, again, I have to stress this enough. If you guys are watching this and you guys are new, there's no energy, there's no insurance, there's none of that. It's just a little bit of FSD and mainly vehicles. That's it. We don't have any data on anything else. If we have more data on energy and see how they're doing it, I can probably see how I can project it into the future, how to do a forecast. But at the moment, there's little information about that. In fact, with FSD, there's little information as well. So, we're going based on what we have, what we can find. So most likely for Q1 revenue, it's going to be closer to 25 billion because of energy and stuff, but we'll see how that comes. Now, moving on to Q2. In Q2, they delivered 467,100 vehicles. I reduced the average selling price to 49,000 because of maybe a recession and price cuts going around. So with that, we get a total Q1 of almost reaching $24 billion. And with net income with 20% again, we get $5.25 billion. Now, I also want to point this out that these numbers are before converting yens to US dollar. If by Q2 US dollar is very expensive, we can see a lower net income, maybe below $5 billion. But hey, let's keep going forward. Let's see what we can find. We can see the total last 3 quarters, including this one, for revenue and profit reaching record. And that would give us an EPS of $1.61 and a total EPS of $5.44. Moving on to Q3. In Q3, we predicted that they're going to do about 491,175 vehicles. At the same time, dropping the average selling price to 48,000, and we get a Q3 revenue of about $25 billion and a net income, again, 20% rate operating margin of almost $5.5 billion. As we can see, it's growing every single quarter, which is just amazing. And the EPS here, we get $1.64. Most likely it's going to be a bit more than that because they're going to start doing buybacks somewhere around this time, I'm guessing. I think this is where I believe this is where the Fed's going to pivot. So maybe a EPS of maybe north of 165 for sure. EPS reaching $6 a quarter earlier than what everyone is guessing in this prediction. So that's good stuff. That's a sheesh moment. And moving on to the last quarter, we said they're going to deliver about over 500,000 vehicles with an FSD price increased to 17,000. Yes, I am expecting them to increase the FSD one-time fee to 17,000 compared to 15,000 because they did it last year. They did it this year, and they did it last year and the year before. So most likely, that's when they're going to increase the rate again for FSD in Q4 in September, like usual. The average selling price for each vehicle, I kept it at 48,000, and we get almost $26 billion in revenue, and in net income, 20%, we get over $5.7 billion, which is a sheesh moment right there, which is the record. And as you guys can see, the total year for 2023 is almost reaching 100 billion in total revenue, and a net income reaching over $21 billion. Now with that, we get an EPS of $1.71 if shares outstanding continues to be diluted, but overall EPS for the entire year of 2023 is $6.41, which is higher than the Wall Street prediction of $6, I believe. So that's good stuff. Now it's time to figure out what the PEs are to figure out the stock price. Now, if you guys are ready, man, then why isn't that like button smashed, man? Come on. Let's go. At the recording of this video, the stock price is in between 145 and 150. And yes, I bought a whole bunch today as well. But Going on to the stock price for 2023 Q1, let's put 45 PE. Although I do believe it's going to be lower than this because earnings are going to be crushed, PE compression is going to happen, and we're still going to be in a bad spot in Q1 of 2023. That's my guess. I mean, based how everything is going, you can expect more red days from now till mid-2023, in my opinion, until the Fed completely changes. But with a 45 PE in this bear market is a little bit bullish, I'm not gonna lie, but let's see how we get. 45 PE, we get a stock price of $206 per share, or about $664 billion in market cap. Now, PE could be low as 40. If the market is still crazy, that would give us a stock price of 183. Just below $600 billion in market cap, or by then it could still be trading in the 150s, 140s, which if that's the case, that means a PE of 33, just a bit lower than 33. Like guys, they're going like 40, 50, 60% year over year, and the 33 PE is just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous to see that 33 PE. I'm just dumbfounded, man. That's ridiculous. So really, a 30 PE at the worst case scenario, maybe 25. I mean, 114. I just don't see that, man. 30 PE, $137 per share at the same rate right now. Again, I do believe that if they crush Q4 and they crush Q1, investors are going to be a lot more optimistic. They're going to see that, oh, wait a minute, we're in the middle of a recession, but they're doing record. They're bringing profits. They don't have any debt. So, a 40 PE, 183 to 45 PE, I believe would make sense if we're not in a bear market. If we're in a bear market, I'm going to say a PE of 40 does make sense, but optimistically, 45. $206 per share. Hopefully, this will happen in Q1. Hopefully, let's see what will happen. In Q2, if they continue to crush delivery numbers and revenue and profits, well then I'm going to give it a PE of 40, and this will give us a stock price of $218 per share. Market cap over $700 billion. In order for this to be trading to what it is now, the stock price needs to be at a 27. Like, can you guys believe Tesla's trading at a 27 PE? It's just hard to see. But anyways, gonna give it a PE of 40, $218 per share, $710 billion. Now, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I'm saying this is what should happen. If that will happen or not, that's based on the markets. But I do believe 206, 218 is still extremely cheap for Tesla. But in a market environment like this, I believe this is what it should be. Not 150, not 140, being compared to Toyota, Ford, GM. Give me a break. Now moving on to Q3. Now Q3, again, if they do almost 500,000 vehicles deliveries with a record earnings of about almost 5.5 billion, giving it a PE of 40, that's about $241 per share and a market cap almost reaching 800 billion. If you want to talk about PE compression, we can go as low as 35, probably low as 30, but then again, goes below the 200 mark. That, in my opinion, is extremely, extremely bearish. They just performed 4 quarters from where we are now, Q4, Q1, Q2, and Q3. It's about 4 quarters, and yet they're gonna be still trading below $200 per share. Are you nuts? Are you kidding me? I just don't believe that. However, though, if there's a Fed pivot in Q3, which I am expecting some sort of a Fed pivot or something's got to give. So inflation's coming down fast, things are coming down quickly. There has to be a pivot by Q3 the latest. If a pivot comes into play, optimism will come back, growth stocks will start to come alive again, and we could probably see Tesla stock trading at a 50 PE to $302. And if we go and for some reason end up in a bull market, a very, very heavy and nasty bull market, we can see a PE of 60 for Tesla, reaching over $300 per share. But again, keeping things conservative, I'm still gonna say a PE of 40 here for Tesla in Q3. I don't know why I'm leaning towards 35 if we're in the same market situation, but I'm going to say 40 because I like to be optimistic. And last but not least, moving to Q4, where they do over 500,000 vehicles and, net income reaches almost $6 billion, like over $5.7 billion. They finish off the year with $21.3 billion in earnings. That's about more than 50% growth year over year, even in a recession. So that's absolutely amazing. Let's give it a PE of 40 again, keeping it constant. That's about $256 per share and a market cap of $850 billion. Now, let's say for some reason there is no Fed pivot in Q4. It's still hawkish. Interest rates are at maybe, let's say 8% now, 9%, Fed level, not bank level, Fed level. PE could drop down to 30, probably even 25 in that case, which is between 160 and $192 per share. But again, I'm expecting some sort of a pivot in Q3 because they can't keep this long for too long. Then we'll probably hit some sort of a depression. And that's not going to be good for anybody. So if there is some sort of a pivot move, I do expect a PE of 40, which would give us a stock price of 256, or more of a 45 PE, because more investors will be more optimistic and they are more comfortable to going back into the market and going into more risky stocks like Tesla. I don't understand how Tesla could be a risky stock. But anyways, 45 PE could give us a stock price of $288 per share and a market cap almost reaching $1 trillion. Now, again, violent bull run, violent bull market, could see a PE of 55, even at 60, reaching back to all-time highs really in terms of valuation. But in terms of stock price, because we diluted so much, we don't really get back to that $400. But again, I do believe buyback is coming in 2023. And again, with all these, even with a hawkish view in Q4, I do believe a PE of 40 to 45 makes sense. I don't know, 42.5, I guess that makes sense to me, around $270 per share. Overall, what I do believe here is the realistic price ranges should be between $256 per share and $288 per share in the base case for 2023. Comment down below if you guys agree, but I think that makes sense to me, hopefully. Hopefully this will come true, I don't know. This is all a prediction, nothing less and nothing more, so take everything with a grain of salt. But with the base case, we can see that total deliveries in 2023 is 1.9 million, and year-over-year growth from 2022 to 2023 is about 42%. Not bad for a base case. Let me know if you guys agree in the comments below that base case 1.9 in a recession makes sense. Let me know. Curious to know. Now, what do I think about the base case of this? In my opinion, doing 1.9 vehicle deliveries in 2023 is bullish for me. Wall Street's not gonna like here. They're gonna expect at least 2 million. But 1.9, that's still a 42% growth year over year. What other automotive company? And yes, I'm not calling Tesla a car company, but let's look at the automotive companies just for a second. Which of them are gonna be growing even 10% next year? Maybe BYD, maybe Polestar. And at best, if they can grow 20-30%, that's at best for them. But 42% Tesla with these margins. Come on guys, give me a break. Stop comparing them to a flipping car company. Yes, they're making cars. Majority of their revenue and profits is coming from vehicles at the moment, but they're not functioning like a car company. A car company doesn't make close to 20-30% per each flipping vehicle. That's insane. And nor do they drive themselves. But anyways, this is my base case, and let's see what will happen by end of 2023. And obviously I'll make adjustments as we go forward. If you guys want to see the bear case, check it out, or the bull case, check it out. If it's not here, if the video is not here, that means it's not ready yet. It'll be ready in a couple days or so. If it is, check these videos out. You'll see my point of view for all of 2023. Check out some merch, man, and don't forget to subscribe, and I shall see you guys in the bull 2020 stock price video. See ya.